So guys, yesterday I went to the Peak District and we were supposed to be doing a charity photo shoot, which turned out to be not what it was. Well, it was just disorganised and didn't go quite to plan, I don't think. So we sort of bailed from that quite quickly because we were running out of time anyway. And then today, back down in where I am, just popped to Hastings. The weather is pretty cool. I mean, you can see those clouds out there. The waves are nice and big and it's crashing over. I've just been up on Galley Hill. You can see them crashing up over the sea wall in Hastings, so let's go and have a look at that. But what cool, it just looks nuts. There's a big system of weather over there. I don't know which way it's coming from. Got a high cloud above it and then see the big fluffy stuff underneath. Looks pretty crazy, so let's go and have a look. Well, there's no surfers in, but bloody hell, that's coming in. Woo! So guys, I ditched the audio on that because it was just so windy. It was sort of like 50 to 60 mile an hour gusts pretty constantly, so it was difficult to you know, obviously talk on the microphone. So basically down at Hastings, as you can see, the waves were crashing quite heavily. The tide was actually going out, which means it was almost hitting the shelf as the stones drop away, and then basically the waves crash into it and you get bigger waves, you know. So this was actually quite calm actually while I was there, considering. So we basically myself wandered around and I thought, I've seen something, so off I wandered. And any of the RX10 users will see what happens. So guys, as I drove into the car park, I finally found something I've been looking for ages. Finally got the new zoom in it. RX10. So obviously the RX10 boat there is obviously, I'm guessing, one of the earliest fishing boats that were registered in Hastings. There we go. And the Rye area. And it's the lowest number I've seen anyway, which is quite handy for obviously sort of relevance to cameras we're using. But yeah, it's just a cool shot, and I just happened to, as I drove past, I just noticed it, so I thought I'd better go and take a photo. Hello. So I just timed it right. Yeah. £3, isn't it? £3, cool.
Thank you for that.
Is it just constantly on the move, is it?
Well,
sort of.
Someone's on it last year.
Yeah, okay.
There you go, should we
okay.
turn ticket?
I'm just going to go up there and take a few photos and come. Yeah, I'm just going to go up and take a few pictures and come back down. That's alright. I'm used to that. Yeah. Someone else up there, is it? I suppose you got pay from either end, I suppose, can you?
Yeah, people coming from the top and come down, right, you know.
Cool. If I ever went on this, it was when I was a child, and I can't remember it. So.
Surprising it over the years, the amount of people has been up and down.
Yeah, I imagine. Cool. Thank you. Cool. So. Ooh, going up. Smooth then. Smooth then. I think as a child I possibly went up on this. Come down. But, no one in it, so it's obviously not peak season. That's kind of cool. Good view though, bloody hell. Christ. It's definitely a different view, isn't it? Slightly breezy. Woo! Thank you. Cheers.
Alright, thank you very much.
Can you take pictures of it? No. Ah, do. So windy. So I sheltered myself around the sort of ticket office for the lift there, and just took a few shots looking back down towards Hastings, as you can see here, at 600mm f5.6 thereabouts, handheld, and no, pretty good. The wind was literally, like I say, constant, and buffeting was happening all the time with the camera, and actually a few times I actually sort of hesitated to try and get the stabilisation to work even better, just to really stabilise the shot before I took it, because a couple of shots were slightly, you can see a little bit of motion. Here's from inside the lift, or the carriage, or whatever you call it. Pretty cool view, and the sun was out, so it was actually lighting inside the actual carriage itself, which sort of lit it quite nicely. It's very old, obviously, and a bit rickety, but did the job. This shot here, just looking down onto the beach where the fishing huts are. This is just cropped in, so obviously I'm backing out, so you can actually get a full view of what I was looking at. Feel like it was going, does it? It's like, guessing it won't run without that key in there, I'm guessing. Yeah, clever stuff. Thank you very much. Cheers. You're not ready. So back down on the beach, and as you can see, with some slow motion. So 600mm f4, and shooting at 250 frames a second there. As this seagull come flying past as well. Slowed down a bit, but the way the camera's working is really good. As you can see, there's a lot of spray in the air, so you can actually see some remnants of the spray up in the sky there on the lens. But handheld, no tripods involved, and that's one benefit of the slow motion, because you're hand holding it. Any sort of vibrations actually disappears pretty much. So even though I'm hand holding it and being buffed, you can see there's a little bit of movement, but it's not too bad. And there's the Rx1000, just in case there's some Rx1000 users. I thought I'd better get that one as well. Yeah, I mean, this shot here, as you can see, worked quite well. That's how much spray there was in the air, just the water just pissing past all the time. I must have cleaned my front element on the lens probably 10 times at least, while I was down there for probably 10-15 minutes. So pretty much between each shot I was giving it a bit of a wipe, especially on the slow motion video. This shot is quite cool. 500 frames per second, and it was just it was like the sea wall, the edge of the sea wall, and the water was just pounding up the side of it. So some was dropping down and some was being blown off because the wind was blowing up over the top of it. So that was quite cool. But yeah, no, so not a bad day out in all. Really nice weather, in fact, even though it's so windy. And for the slow motion stuff, it was quite dramatic, which worked really nicely. Oh, blimey, it's windy out there. Really windy. Just got back. I've had a little wander around on the beach. Massive waves coming in. Done some slow motion video and some stills. Some of the birds flying around, and obviously the crazy waves coming and crashing. Also went up on the cliff up the top. That's pretty windy up there as well, but a good view. The sun's been out, so it's a bit hazy, but there's so much spray in the air. I'm constantly wiping the end of the lens, try and keep it clean. Hey ho, it's done pretty well. And just use the Rx10 today. It's probably the best camera to use in this sort of weather, because you haven't got to worry about changing lenses. So you know, it's a case of where do you do it? You know, you've got to do it in the car if you've got spot lenses. So I've left the A7R3 at home. So anyway, back home and edit the shots. So here's a couple of shots. This one here I almost missed because basically there was so much updraft of the wind, it actually moved the camera up and down quite a lot. And just on the down side of it, I was coming down as it let off, the wind sort of let off, I managed to capture the shot. I was shooting at 24 frames per second stills, so didn't really miss it, but I almost cut the shot off as they were sort of arguing while they were flying. This shot here, seagull coming past with his mouth open, just chirping his way ahead. And again, f4 600mm, pretty good considering the amount of movement. I was trying to keep the camera still, and having used large lenses in the past, anything from 600mm f4s to 150 to 600 f5.6, 6.3, something like that, it's hard enough to keep them still. And so the Rx10 size camera really does make it a little bit easier, but still, in this sort of weather, it's been extremely difficult to keep it, you know, that still. But as you can see, still sharp shots it's capturing, so it is working. It's just a case of you got to try and stay on your target, which is quite difficult sometimes. So you know, another seagull flying past. There's plenty of them, so it might as well make the most of shooting moving targets. The autofocus, I set this one to object tracking. It worked really well. And just this last shot here, the wave crashing up there on the sea wall was really quite cool, and just backlit quite nicely, and the sea was actually almost blue, which was you know, in places, so it worked out quite nicely. But that was it, guys. It was just a brief look at what I was up to that morning, and even though the winds were sort of 45 mile an hour to 60 mile an hour gusts, but it didn't really drop below the 45, I don't think, you know, in between, you know, the sort of the big gusts as such. But it was really nice. I mean, you know, it was interesting, and I went up on the lift I haven't been up since I was a kid, so you know, it was a good day out. And a little bit of parking charge and £3 to go up on the lift, so no, it's not bad for an hour or two of, you know, walking around and snapping and stuff. So anyway, guys, please subscribe, please click the notification bell, and I shall see you soon.